Direct from the Coupe de Carp and streaming around the world on blasttheradio.com, Twitch TV, and Facebook Live. Engaging you in conversations about the hot topics of the day. The number to call is 613-413-2217. And now, the legendary Lowell Green, live on blasttheradio.com.
Listeners to this show know that there has been nobody more supportive of the restrictions that have been imposed on us, including the lockdowns until now. But I'm going to tell you, enough is enough. We got, the conditions have changed. It's time that we changed tactics. This idea of throwing Ottawa back into the red zone makes no freaking sense whatsoever. This is totally, absolutely, utterly lacking in common sense and common decency. What we are doing in throwing Ottawa, or any place for that matter, back into the red with the conditions that we have now is absolutely just totally lacking in any sort of common sense. Listen, to me, I just don't understand it. I'm going to tell you one thing. If you keep up this kind of nonsense, this going back to, old ideas for new problems, you're going to lose everybody. Already there is a growing resentment. There is a growing revolution, if you want, that's out there. And I'm going to tell you, this kind of thing only exacerbates that. People are absolutely fed up with this. You got to do something better, okay? The so-called experts making these decisions have got to come up with better ideas than constantly, continually penalizing restaurants and small business. Stop it. No one, as I said, has been more supportive of the restrictions, including the lockdowns, because thus far they have obviously, as painful as they have been effective in keeping the pandemic under control. Our hospitals have not been overwhelmed up until now, largely thanks because of the restrictions. I have supported, and some of you people have been very angry at me actually for supporting, but I, and I'm sure I'm not alone, have had enough. Enough is enough. Listen, times have changed. You experts have got to change, okay? This is ridiculous, including the politicians. I am surprised that Doug Ford has gone along with this. I tried to get through to Doug this morning. He's obviously tied up. I'm just strictly objecting, saying this, you're going to lose people. People aren't going to support you, not necessarily politically. And by that, I mean all of the information that you're providing. People aren't going to support it. Listen, the situation has changed. I mean, you got to attack the problem. The problem, the serious problem up until fairly recently was in long-term care. We delayed, we refused to deal with that problem. We delayed, administering vaccinations until tens of thousands, and I mean tens of thousands of long-term care residents were dead. Finally, they decided to attack the real problem and vaccinated, for the most part, people, not only in long-term care, but frontline workers. Good. They should have been the first ones vaccinated. Day one when we got vaccinations, that's where it should have gone. Very clearly, it did not. So a big mistake there. You didn't attack the real problem then, and you're not attacking the real problem now. Because with long-term care pretty well taken care of, the deaths are almost reduced to zero there. Frontline workers. Now the problem is not old folks. Nobody gave a sweet flying fox fart about old folks. I mean, we've already gone through that. You made them line up. You let them die, et cetera, et cetera. Nobody gave a shit. Okay? But now it's not the old folks. We're not the problem anymore. Now it's people aged 25 to 35, 25 to 40. They're the ones, the frat boys out having their parties, their booze ups, they're poking fun at the restrictions, getting together, having sex, no masks, the whole damn business. We know what the problem is. The big parties. That's where the problem is. But so why? I mean, if a group of people go out and get drunk and gather around and so forth without masks and all the rest of it, you know what happens at these big parties. You know what happens. I mean, I've taken part in these parties before the pandemic. I know what goes on. So do you. But we shouldn't be doing that. And these people know that now. So why, you get a bunch of people out having a drunken brawl or a drunken party or whatever, or just a get together, okay, knowing that they shouldn't be doing this. Why are they not penalized? Why are you penalizing the restaurant, the small business, because a group of assholes don't do what they're supposed to? Look, Debbie and I, the other day, very seldom do we get out. It's worth my life to get out. We've gone through this. So the other day, we decided it's 2:00 in the afternoon, 2:30. There won't be any people in there, very few. So we went to Baton Rouge in Canada, big restaurant. Okay, I'm terrible at mathematics, but I would think that Baton Rouge, it's so big you could probably sit 200 people there and still be, well distanced. Okay, the tables are well spaced, etc., etc. You could sit 200. Now with Code Red or whatever the hell it is, Zone Red, they're telling Baton Rouge and every other restaurant out there, Fratelli and Kelsey's and all the rest of them, that you can only have 10 people. I mean, Baton Rouge would hold 200 people and still be safe, and now they're telling them only 10 people. I mean, it makes no sense. But not, as I say, the problem are these people having the parties. So attack that problem. Very clearly, the penalties or whatever the hell they are, the little fines, I'm not even sure if they actually ever apply the fines to all of these boneheads out there having the parties. I doubt very much if they're ever fined. You know what? If fines are not working or whatever penalties, throw the bastards in jail for a few days. Attack the problem. The problem is not the old folks. The problem is not frontline workers. The problem sure as hell are not the restaurants. The problem sure as hell are not the small businesses. That's not the problem. The problem are these guys, mostly guys, having their parties. Attack them. Attack the problem. Don't penalize Kelsey's. Don't penalize Fratelli. Don't penalize Baton Rouge because a bunch of yahoos are out having a party. Attack the yahoos. Why? I mean, to me, John, that's only common sense. Am I wrong here? I mean, I don't understand why the leadership that we have out there doesn't understand this. You were telling me a story about a restaurant owner of your friend. Yep. All the problem, it's shut down. This tell us the situation.
I mean, typical small, independently owned restaurant. A limited number of tables, of course, and they're open, they're closed. They're open, they're closed. Hiring and they got to fire staff. They got to rehire the staff. They got to retrain. They got to reclean. I mean, they get an announcement last night about the red zone. They can't open this weekend. Think of the food that they've ordered, and it's constant with them. And then he runs into a problem where a regular comes in, and granted, the regular wants to support his business. Has a couple too many, starts walking around the restaurant without a mask on. Hey, could you put the mask on? Oh, bugger off. I'm just going to the bar. And he's having to battle this on top of everything else with those clients that are in the restaurant. No matter what he does.
That's the guy. I mean, why I don't understand why we are penalizing small business. And by the way, if we're talking about penalizing small business, I don't think Costco is losing any money these days. I don't think Walmart is losing any money.
No.
These people are allowed to stay open for the most part. They fully. I don't know. There may be some restrictions, but it's the little guy. I mean, I use as an example a bookseller. I mean, you can go to Costco and you can buy books. You can't buy mine; they won't take mine. But a bookstore is closed. A florist. I mean, a florist is closed, right? I don't know these days. I can't keep track of it, but for a good part of the time, the florist is closed. But you can go into Costco and buy flowers. I mean, it doesn't make any. It is so totally unfair. But this latest going back to the red zone. That's just, you know what? It's not a bridge too far. It's a step too far. All right, you've gone too far. You didn't do your homework on this one. And there's another factor here with Ottawa. Why is Ottawa going back into the red zone? I checked the figures. You can check the figures. There's some fluctuation in infection rates. Goes up and down a little bit here and there. But essentially, for the past month or so, it's been very stable. Not only that, our hospitals are not overwhelmed. Certainly not with COVID patients, okay? The ICUs are not overwhelmed in this city with COVID patients. I mean, the hospitals are always crowded. They were crowded anytime I ever went, long before the pandemic. they were sticking me and many others in storerooms because there was no space. But it's no worse now, not because of COVID. So if it's not, if Ottawa is not worse, why are we being penalized? Well, not we. Why are the restaurants and small businesses being penalized? I go back to it. Penalize the people who are causing the problem. The boneheads, the idiots, the drunks, the party goers. They're the ones that are causing the problem. Throw the buggers in jail. Let them know. Hand out some stiff sentences for a change. Let them know we mean business. Don't throw the restaurant owner out of business, bankrupt him, make him lose his home and his car and everything else, maybe even his family, for God's sake. Why penalize him because a bunch of guys go out and get drunk and before you know it, 2 weeks later, there's a big outbreak once again of infections. So the restaurant's got to pay the price. John, you've got some good news. We've got some very kind words about some good friends of mine. And are you going to let us know?
I am so thrilled to pass this along. So this was an email sent through the blasttheradio.com website. Hi, Milky. Please let Lowell know that I received my brand new dishwasher from Shields, which was supposed to be delivered next week, but because of a cancellation, it arrived today. The gentlemen who delivered the machine were A1 and had respectful politeness. I had to call Shields to tell them how happy I was with this purchase and how I will recommend them to everyone I know. I will need a new fridge soon, and I will purchase it from them for sure. Let Lowell know a big thank you for having recommended them. As hard as it is today to earn an honest living, spending your hard-earned money with a company like Shields is worth it for the quality of the care they give their customers. Thank you, Milky, for allowing us to listen to Lowell again. We really missed him. You and your family take care. That's Roxanne in Gloucester.
Isn't that great?
There you go.
Great. And that's fairly typical. I love the comment about the drivers. I don't know what it is. The drivers, I don't know if their drivers are kind of sexy or hunky or whatever, but I keep getting compliments about, no, you know what? They're just good Valley guys. And they're very polite. They know their business. And they'll go the extra step. If you want to move something here, well, okay, fine. So that's the story with Shields. And I just want to remind you that the government rebates end the end of this month. John, have we got any emails or phone calls or anybody commenting here on this?
We do, and just a quick note to the listeners, we had a couple of hiccups getting Lowell onto his Facebook, but I've backwards made it happen, and there they are. So we've got some comments here. Jamie says, Doug Ford kept telling us to support small business while keeping these greedy big box stores open, but then he had them shut down until last week here in Toronto. How are we supposed to do that? And don't say curbside pickup. Nobody wants to do that. So everyone buys from Amazon. Joshua says, Brian Lilly has a great article in The Sun on how doctors have too much power. Quote, I'm going to be very frank. There's no politician in this country that is going to disagree with their chief medical officer. They just aren't going to do it. They might as well throw a rope around their neck and jump off a bridge. They're done, says Premier Doug Ford. We've also got Glenn saying absolutely no info on where the infections are coming from. They must tell us. It's about time for clarity.
Well, no, actually, we do know. That information is available. The bulk of the infections are now coming in the age group from about 25 to 40, primarily 25-35. That's where the bulk of the infections are occurring, and we know the cause of it: the parties. They're the anti. I would think that in most cases they don't necessarily anti-maskers. They're just careless people who think, they're immune, they're young, they're strong, they don't give a sweet flying fox fart. So let's go. And I think also there's this idea that somehow or other, if they're defying the law, they're a little bit of a pirate, and they're opposing the man, sort of thing. But what happens is a couple of weeks later. What happens? The infection rate goes way up. Do they pay the price? Well, a few of them may get really sick, but most of them don't. But who pays the price? Of the poor guy trying to run a restaurant, trying to run an honest business. The small businessman, they're the ones paying the price, but which is totally unfair. Penalize, throw the buggers in jail that are having the parties and causing the infection. That's the problem. They're the culprits here. They're the idiots. They're the boneheads. And I say, John, forget the fines. For a lot of these guys, a lot of these in this age group, these guys are very well paid, okay? They're making a really good bucks. God knows what they're working at, but obviously money is not a big problem. I find them $500. That's peanuts. They pay more than that for a damn phone. They pay more than $500 for a pair of sneakers. Throw them in jail. Embarrass the hell out of them. You know what I wouldn't mind seeing? A little bit of humiliation here. A little bit of shaming. I know you're not supposed to shame anybody anymore, but publish a few names in the newspapers. Here are the guys where there were 20 guys at a party at Joe Blow's house last night. None of them masked, all dancing and so forth, carrying on. Here they are. Here are their names. But whatever it is, whatever the law allows, throw the freaking book at the problem, not the innocent. Please. Okay. It's the same old, same old. They've come up with, the so-called experts have come up with nothing new since day one. The lockdowns worked. A lot of people disagree, but they did. They've kept COVID under control in this country. We can see some countries where they didn't have the same kind of restrictions, the United States as an example, and we can see that the death rate is much higher. But times have changed. It's time to change the tactic. No question about it. John, we got some more comments coming in, I hope.
Chrissy says, fines, definitely not enough jail time. I absolutely agree. Barry texts in today to say, Lowell, they were all experts who approved thalidomide 70 years ago, and look what happened from that.
Now, but just a minute. Hold it. Well, you stop the thalidomide. First of all, we didn't approve thalidomide in Canada. That people forget that. We didn't approve. Health Canada turned down thalidomide here. Thalidomide was a morning after pill. It was not a vaccine. Let's not confuse the issue. Barry, I love you, but let's not confuse the issue, okay? Thalidomide and vaccines, totally different, all right? Yes, go ahead. Sorry, John.
Nope, that's okay. All is quiet, actually, right now on the front. We'd love some phone calls, 613-413.
Am I the only, holy suffering doodlecats, am I the only one who thinks that this is a mistake?
No, I'm with you.
Sometimes I just have to shake my head and say, wait a minute. You don't agree with me that we should penalize the people causing the problems and not penalize the poor innocent red? I don't understand.
No, I'm with you. I don't understand why.
I can sign off early. To hell with it. If nobody cares, I'm not going to bother with it. No, that's what makes me wonder sometimes. All right, let's leave that then. Nobody gives a shit. All right. Nothing I can do about that, John. I just want to, before I go, because I'm going to sign off early, I just want to point out, I don't know if anybody cares about this anymore, that the United States has now issued 110 million vaccines. The UK has 36 million vaccines. Canada has administered 3.27 million vaccines. I just thought I would pass that on. Okay, we're going to sign off early. Oh, we have a couple.
No, we've got comments coming in, Lowell. It's just people are trying to catch up here. Chrissy says, "Where's Health Canada on this? Should they not be speaking up?" And Soft Tulip says, "Find them, lock them down in their houses for a month, put their names in the newspapers."
Hallelujah.
There you go. But those are the only comments that we're getting in. Mike says, "I agree with you, Lowell."
Okay, I'm going to sign off early, folks.
All right.
I'm sorry that we didn't get more response. But there's nothing. All I can do is throw things out there, and if people don't care,
we've got a call
then there's
coming
nothing else we can do.
We've got a call. We've got a call coming in, Lowell.
No, you know what? I'm going to sign off early.
Okay.
Thank you, folks. We'll be back.
You've been listening to the legendary Lowell Green on blasttheradio.com. Connect with the show at blasttheradio.com/Lowell Green. Find the podcast on Apple, Google, Spotify, and more. Or ask your smart speaker to play the Lowell Green podcast. Lowell is live weekdays at 2 p.m. Eastern on blasttheradio.com.